Hi, my name is Chander, and I'm here with attorney Morris Fischer from Morris E. Fischer, LLC, and we're going to talk about the adverse action standard today. Our whole goal with this podcast here is to talk about legal topics and current events and give a legal perspective on this. Today's topic, as mentioned, is the adverse action. Mr. Fischer, you recently wrote a blog about this topic. Can you please explain the adverse action in more detail to our listeners?
Well, sure. One thing we always get calls about is something happened to me at work. And depending on what it is, the employee may or may not have a case. And it's important for people to realize that the courts drew a line in that not everything that happens to somebody at work is actionable. Frequently this happens when someone calls somebody a name one time. As horrific as that name may be, the courts have just said, look, we can't give recoveries for people simply because someone was called a name at work. There needs to be, the company has to have known about this. There has to be more than one occasion of harassment. So that's a common thing that happens. And also you have things that transfers are not actionable. People who are given new shifts, even the graveyard shift is not actionable. So unfortunately, not everything that happens to an employee can the employee legally sue over.
So, Morris, if I understand you correctly, what you're saying is that if somebody calls me a name, which I may seem offensive or whatever, and only once, it may not be an adverse action which I have a legal claim for, correct?
That's true. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't do anything about it. That just means at that moment you don't have a lawsuit.
So what are the 5 things that you recommend to document so that in the case down the road I have an adverse action? How do I protect myself starting today?
Well, I think there are 4 or 5 steps that you really should do if you get something bad that happens to you at work that may not be actionable. And let's take that example of the name. I think the first thing you should do is memorialize the claim. Now, how do you do that? Well, you write it up for yourself. And this is something that you're going to be giving to your attorney later. And you detail exactly what happened, the date it happened, the time it happened, and what happened, and who was involved. That's number 1. Once you've done that, generally these companies are going to have a handbook, an employee handbook that you look to find out what to do according to the company. And you always want to do that. And you want to follow, step 3 I'd say is you want to follow the handbook. And usually they tell you to complain to the Human Resources Department, to complain to your manager, whoever that person is. You absolutely want to complain and following the handbook. And you always want to put this complaint in writing. And the 4th thing is you always want to use the word discrimination. And you want to also use the word whatever Title VII protected characteristic that may be, okay? So if somebody made a derogatory woman comment, you want to say, I was harassed and I was discriminated against based on my gender. Okay. Now this is really important because a lot of people don't know this, and they'll come to our office for a consultation and they'll say, "But I complained to HR. Don't I have a case for retaliation?" And the answer is, if you didn't use the word gender discrimination or race discrimination or national origin discrimination, generally speaking, that loses. So you always want to use the magic language of what it is that happened to you in those terms. And finally, after you've complained, the 5th step, I would say, is you always want to follow up with whoever you complained to and ask that person. So last week, a month ago, I complained about national origin discrimination or sexual orientation discrimination. What happened? Did you talk to my manager? Did you talk to my supervisor? I never heard back from you. These are the things that you absolutely have to do.
Wow, this is great advice. I think, me doing the intake at your office, I think I get a lot of the questions, so this is going to be great for our listeners as well as me to continue to help our potential clients and so forth. So Mr. Fischer wrote a blog about this adverse action standard, and that can be seen on his website at www.morrisfischerlaw.com. That's www.morrisfischerlaw.com. Until next time, next week we'll be talking about the statute of limitations, and we would love to hear from our listeners on topic ideas and so forth, and you can reach us at 301-328-7631 and ask for me, Chander, and we'll gladly take your topics and questions, which would be answered on future broadcasts. Thank you for listening. Until next time.